This is the first part of my series talking about race. Because race goes deeper than just white and black, and it goes deeper than just slavery. Slavery is one of the talking points nowadays. But during the civil rights movement, slavery wasn't just talked about. It was about what was happening at that time. When affirmative action came about, it was flawed. I heard it from my white friends, and they were saying how some people would get a job who were black and they weren't qualified. There's no doubt that happened, because either someone didn't really understand how affirmative action should work, or they made sure that it didn't work properly by hiring people who weren't qualified just because they were black. So somebody off the street said, I want a job as a welder at this company. Okay, well, if you have just a little bit of experience, then we're going to put you in there, which is the wrong thing to do. You got to make sure that this person has the proper training before you put them in this job. See, the purpose of affirmative action was to allow people who were properly trained to have a job, to get a job where they needed people, and not to be denied because of their race, who were properly trained. See, when you put in people who are not properly trained, and you put in them in a position where they don't really know what they're doing because they don't have the experience, well, yeah, you're gonna have problems. People are gonna always be like, look, I know a friend of mine who was properly trained, and they didn't get a job because they hired a black person who wasn't properly trained. Well, that wasn't that black person's fault. That was the person who hired. And they this is what you have to do. You can't just say affirmative action. I'm kind of getting off my point. But you just can't say, I'm gonna hire black people. You know, you gotta doggone make sure that they have training facilities, they have access to training facilities, proper training facilities, proper teachers. Then when they're properly trained, then you can put them into an affirmative action position where you know the people of color, black, mostly at the time, were not getting these jobs because they were black. See, it's two and threefold, man. You can't just put black person in off the street and then call it affirmative action. That is ridiculous. It's bound to fail. And then now you creating discontent between white people, because white people are like, look, black people are taking our jobs who are not qualified. What is that? Then the family gonna hear that. The son, daughter gonna hear it. Friends, family gonna hear that. Then next thing you know, they start hating black people. That's how it works. It trickle down, man. And you think it don't? It does. As they grow up and it continues, they keep hearing negative things that concern black people, and then that's how you not have any type of dialogue between people, man. Because they already have a certain feeling about you because of what they heard or what they seen. And it wasn't even the black person's fault. It could be vice versa, white people. So that's one problem. Now, check this out. And I do really want to talk about this. White people have a tendency not to understand black people. And it's because they don't want to understand. They think everything's cool until black people start marching. What they marching for? You might ask that question, but you don't really do no research and ask why they marching. You know, why was there NAACP? Why was there affirmative action? Why was there a civil rights movement? Why is there Black Lives Matter? And then when the next movement come by, you're going to be asking the same question. Why is that? Why is that? But you're not really going to do no research and trying to figure out exactly what the reason is. All you're gonna do is go back to your history books. I say your history books, which is America, and say slavery ended in 1865. What's the problem? Well, the problem is that you had organizations like the Ku Klux Klan, and you have white supremacists who still believe that black people should be in a certain place and not equal to white people. Now, if you had just ended all that during slavery, we wouldn't have no civil rights movement, no Black Lives Matter. You wouldn't have had none of that. But because whites have continued on trying to put black people down, trying to keep them in a certain position, yeah, you're gonna have movements where people, black people are gonna be like, look, we're tired of living like this. You're gonna always have movements like that. If it was happening to white people will have movements as well. This is why you have this problem, man. Now, let's turn it around. Let's ask yourself, why is there a purpose or a reason for Ku Klux Klan or white neo-Nazis? You know, are black people actually asking that question? Are they asking that question and doing research? You know, and instead of just, bashing the Ku Klux Klan and bashing neo-Nazis and any other type of white supremacist group, how about you do some research? And you ask yourself, why is it that they feel this way? Because I guarantee you, there's some reasons behind it. They feel that jobs are being taken. Maybe somebody got raped by a black person and they're taking it out on all black people. Now, I guarantee you, white people have raped black people. But yet they cannot take that out on all white people. No, they're not supposed to. Really, you're not supposed to do that. But I guarantee you, a lot of people harbor, malice towards that. Now, all I'm saying is, black people, do your research on Ku Klux Klan. Do your research on neo-Nazis. All this alt-right and all whatever other names they give it. And they'll tell you, in between all that hate rhetoric, they'll let you know what's going on. They'll say people are taking jobs. Jews are controlling the government and money. You have to understand why people feel the way that they do before you can combat it. Before you can even have a conversation with them and just be like, give them facts and information that hopefully they will have and try to understand, the reason behind it. But a lot of people not, man. A lot of people have to be shown, some people do change. Look at Malcolm X, man, he changed. If Malcolm X could be changed, anybody can be changed. He was all for separation and all this stuff. Then he changed. Man, people can change, man. Just because somebody Ku Klux Klan today been lynching and raping people does not mean that they can't change. They can. Are you going to be peed off that this happened? Yeah, you're going to be peed off. But I'm telling you, man, all you got to do is sit down and talk to some people. Some people will change, some people won't, because they don't want to change. It's different when people don't want to change. But you still have to have conversations. You still have to do your research and try to understand why these people feel the way that they do. See, you're never going to get anywhere if you continue on arguing with people and just arguing your point. How about you listen? I'm talking about on both sides. You got to listen on both sides, man. That's why I look at Fox News and I look at CNN, because that's definitely extreme views from one to the other. I don't know what happened to CNN, but all of a sudden they just went from, they just changed. I guess after Fox News came, they just changed. Okay? You got to do that, man. I listen to Rush Limbaugh. I listen to Neil Boortz. I also listen to Reverend Al Sharpton. I also listen to Derek Bozeman. Roland. I listen to him. I mean, I listen to all people, man. And I try to figure out what their views are. Some of them I listen to Farrakhan. I don't always agree with everything Farrakhan got to say, but a lot of it I do. When it comes to black people, now when he started bashing white people, eh, you know, everybody have their own opinion. But I understand where he's coming from. You know, as long as you understand where people coming from, man, then you can have dialogue and you can try to figure out what's going on with it. Kind of like when they had the SALT talks, Ronald Reagan had the SALT talks, right? Just Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. You know, even when Trump was supposed to go and I said supposed to, go and talk to Kim Il, whatever his name is. Kim Il Sung Lee, right? I mean, the whole purpose is to talk and try to figure out what the other person is, where they're coming from. You got to have talks with Iran, man. You got to have talks with China. That's the only way you're going to get things accomplished. You can't just continue on having this rhetoric, you know? That's all I got to say in this part one. Let me know what you feel about that, and I will continue on with these talks because I haven't hit everything that I want to talk about. All right, peace.